everybody, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about the downfall of a very great, department store, Zellers. You might remember going there if you lived in Canada in the early 2000s or 90s or 80s or 70s. You might remember going there if you've been to Canada or if you live in Canada. Basically, Zellers is kind of like a Canadian version of Target. And people really do like Target, and like me, I love Target too. I love it. And today we're going to be talking about the downfall of Zellers. So Zellers started off as a guy. So Zellers started off about a long time ago by this guy named Walter P. Zeller. And he started his first job as a delivery boy. But also, Walter P. Zeller also was in America during that and came back to Canada to work on a new store. But then in the 1930s, he declared bankruptcy. And he found another store and decided to rebrand that store and called it Zellers. And later on, Zellers became very, very popular. And a few years later, Zellers started to get a lot of expansions into Canada. Well, it was always into Canada. I'm not saying that but had was starting to grow a lot of stores in Canada by the time. But in the 1960s or 50s, I think, Zellers had about 50 or 60 locations and 3,000 employees. Zellers was growing quickly and was doing really well. Everyone was talking about Zellers. It was doing great. And now Walter P. Zeller is surprised how his newest department store is getting so popular. Then in 1956, he decided to not be CEO anymore. And he also died at the age of 65 later on. But in the 60s, Zellers was opening a lot more locations than usual. And also, Zellers purchased another department store called Fields, I think, in which they got the attention to the Hudson's Bay Company. So then, in 1981, Hudson's Bay owned Zellers. I don't know if that's a word, but whatever. Through the 1980s, Zellers is starting to add more stores to Canada, and which people considered Zellers as the best department store in Canada. Then Zellers owned Towers, a department store chain. Then Zellers got their new slogan, which was "The lowest price is the law." Zellers was doing great in the 1990s, and it was actually known as for being the best department store in Canada. Was until Walmart came to Canada. In which Walmart was trying to make a big expansion into Canada and decided to rebrand the store's Woolco into Walmart, which made it bad for Zellers. And later on in the 2000s, Zellers was doing pretty bad. And it got so bad that Zellers and Walmart were literally in the exact same mall. Yeah. So, that's the story. And later on, in 2011, they went bankrupt and closed all their locations, except 3. But then one of them closed, leaving 2 locations. And then, in 2018, I think they both closed, which leaving 0 Zellers locations. I forgot to mention the Target Canada thing, but whatever. I'm not going to mention it. But anyways, I hope you like this video. Bye.